welcome to the Purlsbeforethyme knitting podcast. I'm Elise. Welcome to you if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. So I've been away for a little while, mainly just because life got busy, but I've been doing a lot of knitting. So yeah, that was really good. What's been happening recently? Silas, this is Silas. He turned 2, so now he's proper adult, and yeah, we've had him for a year and it's been wonderful, and he is wonderful, and yeah, I think everyone's very happy that he's part of the family, including him. So yeah, he's just looking out the window. He's being very sweet. But yeah, I've got a lot of updates and I'm wearing one of them. So I finally finished my test knit for Teti's Knit Garden of the Candelaria blouse, as you can see. It did not take the amount of time that I was supposed to do it in. I was supposed to do it in 4 weeks, and I think it took me nearly 6, but it hasn't been released yet, so you know, made it in time. I really like this. It is so comfortable. It's kind of really met my expectations, because when I saw the test, I felt like that was something I kind of was missing in my wardrobe, was a more fitted top that was quite smart, and you know, you can wear it for work, which is actually how I'm going to be wearing it, I think, most often. If you can see that there's a bit of like a bump here, I think that's because I blocked it funny. My plan is to iron that out with like a damp steam iron or something, and that'll fix it. It's also on the other side because of the way I blocked it, so ignore that. That's just a little me issue. It's not the actual top. But anyway, yeah, it is quite a fitted top, which is nice and feminine. But I've been thinking I'm going to wear it with like, this is a men's blazer that I bought at a secondhand shop that I think is really fun and boxy, and I think having like something like feminine goes really well with like something a bit more masculine, especially in like an office environment. So I think this is one sort of way I'm going to be styling this that I'm quite pleased with. I'll probably come up with other ways as well, but I think this really suits my current autumnal wardrobe. So yeah, very pleased with that. Also the lining matches the contrast color, so it's just really nice. Also, the great thing about men's blazers is that they have like a million pockets. So I use this as a jacket quite often, and I just don't need to carry a bag anywhere. I just have that, and it's great. So this is finished. I should probably tell you a few more details about it. So you can see that it's got quite a nice high crew neckline, and I think that's quite unusual. And then the raglan is kind of done a little bit backwards, in that you have a lot of stitches on the shoulder sections and not so many stitches on the front and the back, which leads to this quite sort of nice shape, I think. I think you don't end up with this sort of oversized front and back and then lots of extra ease, which is why I think you can get it to be this fitted. In terms of length, I think the pattern intends for it to be very cropped. So I added at least 7 centimeters to the recommended length, and that's still like, it could be a couple of centimeters longer for me at least. And you know, I'm wearing high-waisted trousers, and I'm glad I am. So if I wanted it to be hip length, I would add another 5 to 10 centimeters. And because it's on 3mm needles, that would have taken a little bit of time, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it like, yeah, cropped for my body, which is still longer than cropped within the pattern. The sleeves are nice. They have this sort of split cuff at the end and they're elbow length. There's a little bit of extra room here that I can't decide if I like or not. It's very comfortable, but I don't know how it's going to wear, so I feel like I need to wear this a few more times to see how it looks at the end of the day, and then I'll make up my mind on that. But overall, very, very pleased with this top. Yeah. So if you're looking for something very nice and dainty and colourful, but not just, you know, a quick make. This takes quite a few hours, so yeah, I would make this when it comes out. And then the other thing that I finished these one day after the other, I was so close with both of them, is my Ranunculus t-shirt. It is this beautiful, beautiful Ranunculus. I've not made one before. This is my first one. You're gonna come up? Come on. Yeah, you can come on. Sometimes he feels like he needs permission to join me, but he's all good. He can join as much as he wants. Don't show your bottom to everybody. Come on. What do you want to do? Okay, there you go. Now he's comfy. We're all good. So, the Ranunculus. It's obviously one of the most popular patterns on Ravelry, and I have modified it a little bit because there's two versions you can make. You can make a long sleeve version or a short sleeve version, and they have very different instructions for those, but I wanted a classic t-shirt sleeve, and the short sleeve option on the main pattern isn't quite like this. It's got more of a sort of cap sleeve situation that I didn't really want. So what I did is I actually followed the instructions as if I were doing a long sleeve version, and then when I picked up for the sleeves, I then just did, I think, about 8 to 10 rounds in stockinette, and then 5 or 6 rounds of rib, and that was it. And then I cast off, and then you end up with these nice t-shirt sleeves. And this is also going to be part of my office wardrobe, I think. It's really warm, so you know it's not going to be inappropriate for fall, and I think it's going to be so nice. This is just made in 2 strands of silk mohair, and I don't remember the colour number, but it is by Tilia. It is by Filcolana, and it's the yarn called Tilia. And yeah, I had 2 strands held together, and it's really nice. I only needed less than 100 grams for this, so I think I used 3 full balls and then yeah, maybe 80% of the 4th one to finish this. So how I did it is I did the sleeves first, and I worked the body, and then based on how much yarn I had left, I just kept going. And I don't think I did quite as much body ribbing as the pattern requires. I think they want about 11 centimeters, but I think mine's only about 8. But I think that's beautiful, and it suits me really well. I've tried it on and can't wait to wear it all autumn. So because I finished 2 things, I am ready to put some new things on my needles. So I've been swatching a little bit, and I've actually cast on something. So the things I have been swatching for are, just get them off my swatch board. Firstly, some of you might recognize this. This is a swatch for the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordlund in the yarn I bought from Eula, from Woolen Twine. The main yarn, I've got 2 yarns held together for this. The main yarn is this beautiful, I think it's BFL Romney DK in the shade Pumpkin from Woolen Twine Fibre Studio. And I needed to find a yarn to follow it with because it wasn't quite the right gauge. And I was really struggling to find something that matched. I didn't initially want a mohair. I wanted to try and find something a little bit less halo-y. So I was looking for like maybe a cashmere or a lace weight alpaca that would have gone with. But in the end, I couldn't find quite the right shade match, and I didn't want any kind of contrast if possible. And I ended up finding this beautiful, do I have another one of that? Yeah, here. This beautiful shade of silk mohair, and it's a very good match, I think. It is also Tilia, so the same type of yarn that I made my Ranunculus in. And this is in the shade 352, which is also called Red Squirrel. So I think you can see that the final result of these two, it's very, very beautiful. So once I'd finished both this top, the Candelaria and the Ranunculus, I felt like that was a really good a good reason to start my book club cardigan. So I've started the back section. This is only like an evening's worth of work, but you can see that I've started those big cables, that big motif that's gonna do the big crisscross. So that's really nice. Been having a lovely time on that. It is a bit more of a sort of concentration project, so I have to remember where I am and do a lot of counting and making sure I don't, yeah, it's easy to get like knits and purls very mixed up on this if you're not concentrating, but you know, I'm really enjoying it. The feel of the fabric is delicious and beautiful, and yeah, I am really having so much fun making this. And then I also swatched for another project which kind of took me by surprise, to be honest, and that was because I wasn't sure it was gonna, like, I surprised myself in that it was something I didn't think I was gonna be interested in. And I watched Casey over at Young Folk Knits. She had a video all about her Hey Sailor top by Andrea Mowry, because she test knitted it for her, and I just saw this and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I just couldn't keep myself from making firstly a swatch, but I had these colors. I've been wanting to make a project in these colors for such a long time, and I thought, you know, this pattern is such a good excuse to do so. And the colors I'm talking about are these are two colors from Knitting for Olive that I think are really beautiful. There's a lavender color and then a mint color. This one's called Blueberry Ice Cream and this one is called Soft Mint. And I've seen a few people make really beautiful combinations of mint and lilac, and I think even though they're a little bit pastel and girly, they can also look very nice. And what I like about this lavender is it's not too pink, it's got a fair bit of grey in it, and I think this is also not too bright. I think they're both muted enough that it can work as a sort of mature garment that's like, yeah, nice. So when I made my swatch, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted as the main colour and what I wanted as the contrast colour, so I made a swatch that had sort of both on it. So I tested out with the main colour being the purple, and then I tested with the main colour being the green. The stitch, there's a bit of unevenness here because I had to modify the pattern when I switched colours so that the squares would line up, but it meant that I was working a bit like offset on the pattern, which is why there ended up being a few gaps, but I'm fairly sure that if I didn't do that, yeah, it would look just as even. The thing is, I find the purple kind of fades a little bit too much into the background when you use it as the main colour. But I do really like the idea of having the rib sections of this top in the purple. So what I'm going to do, which I've seen other people do actually, is use purple as the main colour, but for the pattern, I'm going to swap the main and the contrast colour, so it's going to have little green squares, and yeah, I think they will just sort of pop out a little bit more. So that is my plan with the Hey Sailor. I bought the pattern, I've read through it a few times, and it seems pretty straightforward. The one thing that Casey mentioned that I'm going to be quite careful with is that it's not so easy to lengthen certain sections because of the way the buttons are distributed, so I have to recalculate button distribution if I wanted to make certain changes of length. So I need to sort of calculate exactly things, because I tend to have like, not that I have big arms, but a lot of the time I find patterns have less ease around the top of my arms than I like. So I often size up on a sleeve. So I'll see if I need to do that, I'll look at all the measurements and I might need to make some modifications there. But anyway, this is gorgeous and I'm very excited to cast on. I've already had to size down in needle for this because I think the recommended needle for the main pattern is 3.25 millimeters. This swatch was made on 3 millimeters. I still don't quite have enough stitches, but I think it's supposed to be 30 or 31 stitches and 10 centimeters, and this is 29. So the one thing I'm thinking I might do is either, if I'm between sizes, size down, or yeah, we'll see. I don't mind a little bit of extra ease than what the pattern says. So yes, it'll be fine. We've got lots of decisions to make now, which is also very exciting. Yeah, so that's basically everything I've been up to recently. I have a few little extra announcements, which is I have made one of my patterns on Ravelry free, and it's going to be free forever. It is this mitten pattern that I made a couple of years ago, and it's super easy. It's a really nice beginner pattern that I would really recommend, and it's these little mittens that are actually just made of scrap yarn. The yarn I had lying around was scraps of Alpha Chino Merino from Wool and the Gang, and what I did is I just made 2 big mitre squares that were big enough to sort of cover my hand, and I sort of folded them in half, and then I added a little thumb and a cuff. So if you want a really quick and easy and fun project, go over there and have a look. I think they just called Cockatiel mittens is what they're called. I can't remember why I gave them that name. I think it was a Instagram subscriber or follower who said, oh, they reminded her of like a little bird when she looked at them. So yeah, and then you can choose how you distribute the colors. And I think mitre squares are a really fun technique that I feel get underused a little bit. I think they are so much fun, and they're really beautiful and super easy and mindless. I think they're like for me, I think they're like the granny square of the knitwear world. They're just like, you just make lots of squares and you can do nice things with them. So yeah, that's these mittens. And another free pattern I really want to shout out is one that I've used and worn all the time, which is this scrunchie. This is called the Simple Scrunchie by, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a Danish name. I think it's Wiese, W-I-E-S-E knit. She has a lot of very beautiful designs, but this one happens to be free, and it is just a really, really nice scrunchie. I made mine in lots of silk mohair scraps, and I also made sure I had a very strong piece of elastic that I sewed in. I didn't just use a hairband. I actually got proper sewing elastic and made it very, sturdy, because I have a lot of hair and I often have the problem where my elastics get slack too quickly. But yeah, this is really, really nice. She actually has a bundle of scrunchie patterns with all sorts of different textures and eyelets and things and patterns, but that's something you need to purchase. But this one particular one is very basic, and so if you need a scrunchie or you have people in your life who need scrunchies, this pattern is wonderful, and I'll also link it below. So yeah, that's all I really have for today. I've been thinking about what I want to, what sort of videos I want to put out for the next few months. It's obviously going to be more festive things as we get closer to Christmas. But yeah, if there's anything in particular you'd like to see, please let me know. But I've got a few little ideas on my list. So yeah, that's it. And I hope you have a wonderful time and enjoy knitting. Bye!